Red, we have been talking about this particular show tonight for a long time. For a long time, and it is finally here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got the guest of all guests for you tonight. But before we get into that, welcome to the Twisted Pair. I'm Graybeard.
And I am Ash Red.
And I am Cigar Traveler. And we have our guest of honor, the one, the only, Pedro Gomez Martinez of Drew Estate. The guy, the spokesperson with the big mouth. And I mean that in a good way.
Man, thank you so very much, guys, for having me in your amazing show. And thank you for making the time. So for all of you guys, and for everybody that is watching, thank you so very much, guys. And it is a pleasure to be here, smoking a cigar, talking about cigars and tobacco with you guys.
Well, before we get into it, and we always talk about our pairings first because, we are the Twisted Pair, so it's only likely. But this show is going to be unique above all because we have some swag to give away.
Woo-hoo!
Now,
I'm excited about it. I almost went over to your house and stole it. I was trying to figure out how to do that.
Okay, Zach comes over and he's like going, dude, I don't have these pieces. Red wants to come over and steal it, but both of you guys didn't have to sit there tempted with it for the past month and a half, 2 months. It's been sitting there and I'm just wanting to come on here. We have got...
What you got?
Check out this backpack. This is a full size. Look at that. The rebirth of cigars. Beautiful. That logo that we have come to know and love. Okay. Mm-hmm. This one we're giving away tonight. But you have to be on the show the entire night so that way you can hear the answer to our questions at the end.
And we can see who's on. So we can see when you leave. And we're kind of like Santa. We know if you've been good,
Well, I also love this one here because I'm all about my thermoses.
Especially in the Texas heat.
In this heat where it's still 101 outside right now. Yeah.
That's a good thermos, by the way. I got one.
We got this Drew Estate thermos. So these two were given away from questions based upon... and you'll have to listen to Pedro to get the answers to our questions, okay?
The man of the hour.
This one here, I want everybody here about this one right now. You have 3 days, actually 4 days, by midnight on Sunday, you need to post a picture on Instagram with a pairing that you have done with a Drew Estate cigar and whatever it is that you're pairing, and you need to tag Ash Red, you need to tag myself, you need to tag Leaf and Grain Society, and you need to tag Drew Estate, but also tag Mr. Pedro.
Oh yeah.
On Monday. So you have till midnight on Sunday.
Instagram. I know we have several different ones, but we want Instagram.
We want Instagram.
You can tag it all across, but make sure you post it to Instagram.
Oh, and believe me, you've got to be following all of us, and I will be checking to see if you're following. I will be checking. So on Monday, I will go live on Instagram on Monday. And I will randomize all of those who tagged us. And you will get this. Now, this thing is beautiful. Look inside there. Look inside.
Ooh.
I know. And
you got a flask. You got a flask here.
Carbon. There's a flask?
Yep.
Yes, you got a flask.
Yep.
Cigar holder. This is a flask. Hold your lighter. Hold your cutter. Mm-hmm. This is sweet. I want this for myself, but sorry, Leaf and Grain. If you're part of the Leaf and Grain team, you cannot win this.
But got it.
This is sweet. So, okay. That having been said, What are we pairing tonight?
So I would like to ask our guest of honor, what are you smoking and what are you drinking?
Oh, myself.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I'm
Pedro.
drinking a little bit of how do you call this one? It's juice.
Naranja. Naranja.
Yes, I'm
Naranja. Naranja.
smoking. Yes, this one is
Naranja,
called this one.
mango, papaya,
Not fruit punch. It's passion fruit.
passion
Passion
fruit.
fruit. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
there you go.
Well, I just put like all the fruits in there. Right.
Oh my god, unbelievable. And I'm smoking tonight, guys, with you guys. I'm smoking this one that is called Culebra. It was a cigar that I had on my humidor for many years.
Oh,
It used to
wow.
can intertwine just like your logo right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm smoking right now. Really, really nice.
The Culebro is those are fun, and
Neat
I've
story.
actually seen people smoke all three of them as at once.
I know, man. That's crazy, right?
Yeah. Don't ask for me to do that. Don't put that in the comments. That's all I'm saying.
All
Okay.
right,
And so I was gonna go with Cigar Traveler. I'm sorry, Crazier.
that's nope. I was going to go with him as well.
So I am smoking the special edition Liga Privada Savage Feast to commemorate the very first time I've got to meet Pedro Gomez at Savage Feast last year. And the cedar notes are really brought out by the
Oh,
black and I'm
we're,
so sorry.
Cierra la
we're,
boca.
we're not talking. Simmer down, boy. Simmer down. What are you
Sorry.
drinking? We'll
Tell
get
us
to
what you're
that.
drinking.
Don't. Yes.
Show us your drink.
Oh,
You're,
me.
you're,
Okay.
yes, you.
Oh.
But what is that? This isn't a blind one.
Blackened.
All right.
They're normal time because I do need to the audience. Blackened's done a great job. They got the rye, they got the cask strength, and they got one, I think, a cherry cask now that's finished, cherry cask. So they got four
Well,
types now.
they also have a collaboration with Willet, with
Mhm.
Willet as well. So we'll get into all that, and we'll get
Yeah.
into your pairing notes and other stuff.
So
My lady, Miss
where's my
Ashred.
camera? Okay. So what I am doing is I am smoking the Hannah Esteli and I am smoking the Miami one. So since I can't
So
be there
good.
to enjoy the
Very
nice
nice.
weather, since I can't be there to enjoy the nice weather that you're hogging, that you're stealing, Pedro, in my mind, I'm going to be there. And because it
That is
is with
good.
San Andreas, I am drinking. This is one of my favorite to go with San Andreas is the peanut butter stout
Peanut butter
citrus
stout temptress.
peanut,
Wow.
and it is done by Lakewood Brewery, which is a local. So that is what I am sipping on.
That's
All right.
amazing.
So before I get into mine, viewers, we do want to know what you're drinking as well. So and what you're pairing as well. I am going with this beautiful cigar, and if you read my review that I just posted today on this, I just posted today on the Liga Privada H99. So
Wow.
you can
That's
go out to the
beautiful.
website, read the review. Pedro, I don't know if you went out and saw it yet, but we scored it at a 94.
Oh, I was
Wow,
gonna
man.
play with him. I was gonna say we scored it as a
Thank you.
24.
Thank you so very much, brother.
We,
Thank you
this
so very
this is
much.
a phenomenal cigar, phenomenal stick. Now I
Thank you
didn't
so
pair it
much.
when I was reviewing it. I didn't pair it with anything other than water, but I have chosen to go with an Italian red blend. So this is the
Ooh.
Valpolicella Ripasso Superior, and this
Wow.
is a 2016 vintage Italian wine, and you can look and just see that beautiful plum color on it. And
Mm.
my reason that I went with this one is because of the blend of all the four different countries, actually five different countries in this particular one, the blend with the Mexican San Andres, with the Connecticut Corojo, with everything from Honduras and Pennsylvania and everything that's in it, I wanted to bring forth those fruity, sweeter, and creamier notes that were present in the smoke, but were hidden a little bit. And so to try to bring those forward. So,
Okay.
anyways, we have Pedro. So let's just jump right into this and let's learn a little bit about you and how you got started into cigars.
Oh man, well, first thing first, thank you so very much for having me. And I would like to acknowledge our amazing viewers that I got right here on Facebook. And I would like to give a beautiful shout out to Jason Sharp. Thank you so very much for your amazing support, brother. To Howard Gross, my man right here in Florida. Howard, I hope that you are doing very well, brother. Thank you so very much for tuning with us. I got Joshua Scarvet. He's tuning in all the way from Wisconsin. And we got
Oh,
great people, a lot of people that smoke cigars. And most importantly, to everybody that is watching this video, guys, please follow this beautiful platform. It's a beautiful show to watch. How often do you guys do this?
Every Wednesday,
okay.
every week.
Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, guys. All right.
That's right.
So
That's right.
welcome.
Thank you, Pedro. We appreciate
Yes.
that.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. So well, I was born and raised in Esteli, Nicaragua. And before I came to the cigar industry, I was a saddle maker. I spent like 10 years making saddle for horses. So
Wow.
I literally started working at the age of 10, making ends meet and bringing food to the table, helping my family. And then I continued with school and I couldn't afford to quit my job making saddles. So I was going to school in the morning, making saddles in the afternoon, working from Sunday to Sunday and hoping for the best. When I finished high school, I applied for this scholarship, which was the opportunity that really changed my life. And out of 300 students from all over Nicaragua, only two got the opportunity.
Oh,
So the
wow.
program sent me, thank you. The program sent me to Iowa, and I went to Iowa in 2004. The major that I applied for, it was international business, and I didn't know not even a single word of English. So, long
Wow.
story short, I graduate after 2 years. The program, the rule of the program is that you have to go back to your country, and that's what I did.
Oh, wow.
So it means July 20th, 2006, I got back to Esteli and I was determined enough not to go back to the saddle shop. And basically, what I did, I went to every single cigar factory that you can think of back in 2006 looking for a job. I went to all of them. And unfortunately, they didn't have nothing for me. I couldn't find a job. My last hope was this little factory in downtown Esteli that we used to call that factory because kind of we grew up right around the same block where the small Drew Estate factory used to be at, the
Hmm.
Gringo Cigar Factory. So, so I went to apply.
Well, that
Okay.
makes sense. But that makes sense since you have two white
Yes.
people. Yeah.
I mean, check this out. Back in the 90s, early 2000, the majority of cigars were being made by Cuban Americans.
Right.
And they were trying to open the market for Nicaraguan cigars right here in the United States. So then I got the opportunity to get an interview with the operation manager, which is Manuel Rubio. He has been with the company since day one. And he started with Jonathan as a Jonathan's driver. But right around the time when I went to my interview, it was Nicolas Melillo. Nicolas Melillo is the founder and owner of Foundation Cigars. So
Hmm.
Nicholas interviewed me and he said,
Wow.
well, we like your resume, but we don't have nothing for you. But if you want to work, we want to see you tomorrow at 7. And I was the next day at 7:30, ready to work. Early on, I didn't know nothing about cigars. I didn't know nothing about what Drew Estate was all about. I was just happy to get a job, and I was doing every single little duty that they were giving me with a lot of love and dedication and everything. So the first year it was about carrying coffees, buying people's lunch. I used to use my nickname was Pedro Cake, Pedro Ice Cream, because I was getting all that stuff. But, but you know what? I
Oh,
did. I didn't let that kind of stuff, kind of slow my roll. I was doing it with a lot of passion. And then a year after, they promoted me to be the operation manager assistant. Right around that time, I have already spent little times in different departments within the small factory, which was the fermentation area, the tobacco warehouse, the production floor, the quality control department, the packaging department. I was the translator between the CFO in Drew Estate, Nicaragua, and the
Ah.
accounting department right here, and guys that were coming to Nicaragua to have their meetings. So I was learning the whole how Drew Estate was evolving, how beautiful Drew Estate was growing in front of my eyes. So a year and a half after they promoted me to be director of Cigar Safari, that's when we start to host groups in Nicaragua. It was retailers and end consumers. Right around that time, it was Steve Saka giving the tour. Steve Saka being the
Mhm.
owner
hmm
of Tobacco and Trust, great cigar company. It was Nicolas Melillo. It was Jonathan Drew, the founder of Drew Estate. It was Marvin Samuel, the co-founder of Drew Estate. It was Mike Solucci, who was at some point at Drew Estate, he became the CEO. And the thing is this, for me, I got the opportunity to learn from these heavy hitters. I also had the opportunity to learn from the people that perform their tasks day in and
Mhm.
day out. And when I
Mhm.
had the opportunity to give the tours to backpackers that they didn't have nothing to do, but they want to come and see what a cigar factory is like, I was bleeding their ears because
I,
you
I,
cannot put in a short tour the hard work
oh
and the
no, no, no,
passion
no.
that goes into making cigars. So
Mhm.
for me, it
Right.
was a beautiful playing field to practice, the knowledge that I
Mhm.
was getting from all these guys. And then after quite some time, maybe 2 3 years, they let me do the cigar safari by myself. Then after that, they promoted me by 2010 to be the director of international sales. I started to open accounts in different countries, but most importantly, I learned how to sell a cigar. But not sell a cigar. I learned how to introduce people to try Drew
Mhm.
Estate cigars because selling, that's what we're not doing right here. We are introducing people to good times.
That's
And then
right.
Right.
by 2013, Drew Estate brought me here with a work visa. Thanks to Jonathan Drew, that he believed all my hard work and everything, since day one. And so I came with a work visa. And I remember back in that time, I was 6 months doing all the cigar safari tour, which was around 35 groups from Sunday to Wednesday. The same day on Wednesday, I have another group that was coming, landing into Nicaragua,
Mhm.
leaving on Saturday. The next day, picking another group up, and I was going like that. And then after that, I was coming to the United States to do cigar events all over the country for 6 months. And obviously, my best trip or my best airfare was going back to Esteli every year. Until 2015, that's when they asked me the guy that I had in Nicaragua that was being my assistant, helping running the tours, that he will be stepping up and doing the tours. And Drew Estate asked me to stay the 12th month around the year doing cigar events for them, which is
Mhm.
turned out to be a beautiful opportunity. And now what I do for Drew Estate, I am in marketing, and in the marketing department, we got Jonathan Drew, who is the marketing chief, and within the group we have 10 people that everybody's doing their thing, and we do our best, to come up with new stuff. And it's a beautiful it's a beautiful thing that we have going on at Drew Estate, because everything that we do, guys, everything is about teamwork. This
Yes.
is not one man show. It's a lot of people behind us.
And that's what's so amazing is because we hear about, every cigar has, 200 to 300 hands that touch it, but there's not a lot of that talks about the other people that are behind the cigars, such as the reps, such as the brand ambassadors, such as the sales executive team, uh, all the business behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about the business behind cigars on our show quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but Drew Estate really seems to know how to reach their customers, reach their consumers, reach us through the branding, through the swag, through the events.
Mm-hmm.
I love the title. I mean, the name of the Rebirth of Cigars,
Mm-hmm.
because really, when Drew Estate has kind of been the leader of, the forerunner of the rebirthing of cigars that we saw. We're seeing another rebirth from the 2000s, and especially
Right.
during COVID on it. And you guys seem to be at the forefront on that.
Thank you so very much. When it comes to business, great there. Everything is about reinventing yourself. It's
Mm-hmm.
always thinking out of your comfort zone. And
Right.
sometimes you have to take the risk. But if
Mm-hmm.
you have your heart ahead of you, somehow things are gonna work. If you got
Right.
everybody putting the effort, things are gonna work. If people have a vision, if somebody have a vision arting and they can sell that idea, and people can really see the potential of what we could be talking in those endless meetings, eventually, people are gonna acknowledge that. And most importantly, when it comes to cigars, yes, branding, marketing, selling, strategies, all that is important. But what really set the record straight
Mm-hmm.
is these handmade premium cigars.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
And
Yes. Yes.
yes,
Yes. Yes.
well, I was going to say for you, you've seen the growth, and especially since growing up in a silly, and you're seeing the shop by the two white guys, two gringos, and then and it really started off. Drew Estate started off at a kiosk, you know,
That's right.
and just to see how has expanded in a short amount of time. And it's kind of like, earlier you're talking about, it's most cigars you're thinking about, they're from Cubans or they're from Nicaragua. It's of a Hispanic heritage. And then it's kind of like, these gringos come in and they reestablish it and they do it in a different way,
Yep.
and it's taken off. And now it's not only that, but it's also around the world, which I don't think when they first started off selling cigars at a kiosk, that's what they would envision. Because that might have been their goal, but it's just to think insane, and it's only been a short amount of time. Y'all haven't been around that much.
Yeah. 20, I would say this year, 28 years. And, before I continue with the interview, let me give a beautiful shout out to Camilo Gomez. Camilo is a cousin of mine. Camilo, mi hermano, espero que estés muy bien. Un saludo de tu primazo aquí. I just give me a quick shout out in Spanish to my
Bienvenidas,
cousin right there.
bienvenidas,
Love it.
bienvenidos.
Love it.
So,
Please do.
Ash Red, thank you so very much for the knowledge that. So, yes, Drew Estate is a relative young company. And basically, everything is about if you're going to do something, you better do it right. At Drew Estate, we are not the type of company that we do things halfway. We go
Mhm.
all the way
Yeah,
with no
jump in with
steps.
both feet.
We go all the way. And the thing is this, whatever you approach in life, that's how we should go.
Yep.
Because when it comes to people, the vision, everything, obviously the vision of Drew Estate came from Jonathan Drew himself and how he visioned the company to be. And as Gray Bear said, the rebirth of cigars. Yes, Drew Estate was, is, and will be the rebirth of premium cigars. At the end of the day,
Love it.
we will never be where we are without the support of everybody out there. And now I see that Carabella is tuning right now. I want to give a quick shout out to Carabella. Carabella is one of our territory managers in the West Coast. She managed all those accounts from California all the way to Washington and Oregon, everything in between. So in terms of everybody at Drew Estate, yes, it's teamwork. You know, it is all of these guys that they travel. Those are the true road warriors. When I go and do events and people say, "Oh my God, what an amazing event!" Everything is based of the hard work of the territory manager, not just a Drew Estate, and every single cigar company. Because you know, for those cigars to be in people's hands, you have to have people up there, you know, knocking
In the
doors,
pavement. Yep.
knocking doors, and eventually that retailer is gonna bring those cigars into the humidor, and eventually end consumer are gonna be able to try. And for us, when we got an invitation like this, guys, and I'm truly mean it. When I have an invitation like this, that I have the opportunity to come and talk to your audience, I take it very seriously because we are reaching people that we were never gonna be able to reach. So
That's
what you
right.
guys are doing for the cigar community is amazing because at the end of the day, it's about the message. It's
It's a
about the message. It's not
well,
about the
it's about
culture on Instagram and none of that.
right.
Right.
It's about the message, and it's about the community. It's about the culture. All of that together, and the message is what drives it to the social media, to the media as such. It drives us to the creators such as you guys. It drives us to the events, everything all together, and it drives us to the brick and mortars where the culture, where the heart of the culture is.
That's right.
I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about. I want to get the elephant in the room done and talked over with, okay? And the elephant in the room, because you all know, everybody knows what we think about the cigarillos. I mean, us and especially with all of the legislation that's happened, with the FDA trying to shut down flavored cigars and everything else. Tell us about the Swisher Sweets purchase of Drew Estate. When did it happen? What has that meant to you guys as a business? And talk a little bit about this whole FDA. It's almost 9 o'clock somewhere. All this whole FDA
Yeah.
bullshit that's been going on that we're now seeing start to come to an end, and how that has affected you guys, especially considering your line of acid cigars, which that was a big concern.
Oh yeah. Well, first thing first, yes, the acquisition of Switcher in Drew Estate happens in October 2014, and basically what happened right after that, it was the best thing that ever happened to Drew Estate. Having a parent company with resorts, not just financially, but legally, which
Ah.
really introduced me to the point of Great Bear. I mean, Switcher Bro is structured to Drew Estate because when you have a company that is growing and growing aggressively, first thing first, what you need to have is a structure and direction.
Right.
And basically, Switcher brought a lot of beautiful tools to Drew Estate. But up to right now, we are still using them. We are adding more. And when it comes to what Switchers see on Drew Estate, they saw the potential since day one. They saw not established company yet because we were still growing, but they saw the potential in our brands. They saw the potential in our team members, not just right here in the United States, but also in Nicaragua. The people that run the
Okay, yeah.
factory, the people that make cigars. And for them, they saw a beautiful opportunity. In terms of Switcher, they were involved in premium cigars in the early 90s. And then somehow the idea didn't work. And then they were just waiting for the right opportunity. And the right opportunity was real estate. And our right partnership was then to us. In terms of the FDA, well, I'm not a lawyer, brother. And one thing that I can tell you is this: FDA has been a threat to the cigar industry since day one. what
Yeah.
we have done at Drew Estate, everything is about our legal team that we have
Mhm.
working to provide us support, and most importantly, to teach and educate politicians that they don't understand cigars. Because a
Yep.
lot of
Absolutely.
people
Yes.
put in one single category what tobacco is between this and
Mhm.
that and that and that, but they don't see what is behind these studies.
Right.
There is a mom and pop business here in the United
Mhm.
States. It's the livelihood of people in
Hmm.
Mhm.
third world countries like
Right.
Nicaragua, Honduras, Dominican
Me
Republic.
too. Mhm.
Is the livelihood of people that
Right.
work in these cigar companies right here in the United States. It's also the beautiful right that people have
Mhm.
to smoke what they want in terms of tobacco, and to enjoy themselves.
Right.
But unfortunately, when it comes to cigars, it is what I call the beautiful underground hobby.
Mhm.
Because if you are up there, talking to people and people see you, they see Zach here and there. But if Zach starts to talk about cigars, and
They're
people
like,
say, "Hey, wait a minute, you smoke cigars?" "Oh yeah, I smoke cigars. I smoke this, I smoke that, blah 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 blah." And then the other guy said, "Bro, you smoke cigars? We should get together one of these days." That's what the cigar
mhm.
community is all about,
Right.
bringing
That's
a
I.
lot of people together. And another thing that I would like to add it to my point right there is like Ash Red, which if she goes to a cigar lounge, she's not gonna feel a stranger because everybody's open to have people smoking a cigar in their lounges, or you can smoke a cigar by yourself at your house. And at the end of the day, what cigar does, it brings a lot of people together. Not just
Mhm.
now in the last 20 years, not last in
No.
the last 2 years,
Forever.
for centuries.
Yes,
Mhm.
sir. Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Pedro.
Okay, we
Okay.
just we
Yeah.
need to take a break for a moment, and when we come back, we're going to let Cigar Traveler Zach ask his question. Then we want to get into talking about the brands. Some of the different brands and some of the blends that
Mhm.
we've got. But for right now, we are going to. News and events, Red. We got a lot of events coming up. What you
We
got?
do. I'm so excited about all the events. So the first one that we have is September the 8th from 5 to 8 in Burleson, Texas at Wild Cigar Lounge. And this one's actually Ryan All the Smoke Rayford with Drew Estate. And they are going to have H99s there, drink specials. And for those, if you haven't been to one of Ryan's events, he's got like music. He's big into music. So he always has like the best music playing. And it's fun. So that is in Wild Cigar Lounge from 5 to 8. Then September the 9th, we have Blow and Smoke Cigar Lounge, and they're having their first ever Smoke Fest, and that is on Saturday. Then this one, I wish I lived in Florida because, like, I'm jealous that I can't come to this one. September the 10th, it is cigars, whiskey, wine, spirits, beers, food trucks, live music, and that is Cafe Cigar Whiskey and Wine Fest, and it is at let me look at my notes here. I put it. If you go to Hefe's Facebook, you can get the ticket. And here's the crazy thing: the tickets are only $34, and you get over $200 worth of swag.
What?
Tickets are 30 something dollars, and you get uh let's see, and it goes from 6 to 10, so it's 4 hours. It's $30, and you get over $200 worth of swag. That's cigars, wines, samplers, all that stuff. So, and it's at Lake Eola Park is where that is. So, I'm kind of jealous of that one. I wish I lived
Yeah,
in
right.
Miami. Yes. And then on October the 28th, I'm going to try to go down to that one. You're going to have Karen Berger. I know she's going to be there with Bruce. I know that Ryan is going to be there with Drew Estate. And this is the third annual Tabacadocious Cigar Fest. And it is from 3 to 8. They will have live music. Tickets can be anywhere from 150 to 300 or 250. It depends on which one you get. They have different series of tickets. And they have live music. It's just a big cigar fest. And then the big thing that's happening in November the 11th from 2 to 10 p.m. out in Florida. And I think Pedro is going to be at this one at the Bar and Smoke in Florida. And they'll show you the process of the cigars. They'll give demos. They have music. But if you didn't get your ticket, it's sold out. But still, I know a lot of people go live. So if you're not able to jump up, go up on their Facebook, go follow them. They always post pictures. They do lives from there. So there's like a lot of events. And if you have events, and then I forgot about another one. That is September the 19th, and that is Lake Worth. And that is from 12 to 4. John Welsh will be there with Surrogate and Tatawate. So out Lake Worth, go out to there, and that is like a ton of events going up. If you have an event, please let us know about it so we can tell you. We also have all these events posted on our website and different calendars of events, so go check it out.
I mean, and there's a lot of opportunity right there to go out and see somebody from Drew Estate, which is awesome. And the news about Drew Estate doesn't stop there. So Drew Estate just recently announced on their website that Deadwood Tobacco, one of the brands that Drew Estate has, the Girl with No Name is coming back and is going to be exclusive to jrcigars.com and cigars.com. Now, this is a Connecticut Shade Robusto, and I love what it says about this. I mean, makes me want to go and order some myself. It says, subtle, mysterious, and hard to pin down, the Deadwood Tobacco Company, the Girl with No Name, has once again changed her appearance and is riding her husky black stallion to a new locale. Now, that's not all. This one here, I gotta say, I'm kind of jealous about this one. Drew Estate is introducing the Liga Privada 10 Selección de Mercado. Forgive my, I'm Texan people, so I'm looking at that as Selección de Mercado. Okay, this is only going to be available on the international markets.
Oh, yeah.
This is not going to be available in the United States, which I'm sad about that. But
¿Por qué?
Drew Estate is set to launch an entirely new expression of the Liga Privada 10 that will become available at the international show in Dortmund, Germany, beginning on September 14th. So we just had some friends. I just noticed Karen Berger and Bruce Bosch that just said that they're heading to Germany right now. People are heading there. This event in Germany is one of the biggest cigar events. I mean, it's kind of like PCA of the European countries. So if you're out in Europe, pick you up some, bring them back, and then show Graybeard and Nash Red some love.
It is. And I would like to give a beautiful shout out to Cara Berger and Bruce. Great people, great cigars, and we're looking forward to see these guys in Germany.
Yes, love them. We've got some wine news too. If you haven't been following the wines, there's been a lot of things going on in France where there's been, difficulty with the crops. I've seen a lot of molding and mildew in a lot of the crops. Well, it just came out just yesterday on winesearcher.com that the labor woes seem to they're continuing on, but they seem to lighten up. So now the French countries in France are able to start harvesting. So what effect has this had on wines? Well, according to the CIVC, which is one of the governing bodies of the grapes and the vineyards in France, has said that with Champagne, it's going to be a record year in volume terms. Bunch weights are around 220 grams, a considerable sized grain, as compared back to 2005, where they were only 175 grains. And they're expected to see a really nice production of Champagne. So we should see some really good vintages out there. With the Bordeaux valleys and the Southwest valleys, it's not looking as good. In fact, the mildew has had such an impact on the Bordeaux and your southwestern regions in France that they're not even able to predict what kind of harvest that they're going to have. So that is kind of heartbreaking. And the last one, something that we want to keep an eye on, because if you haven't noticed, in Canada, they've changed their recommendation or the laws around how much alcohol you can take in a day. And for men, it has been no more than 2 alcoholic beverages in one day, and for women, they should cut themselves off at 1. Well, the new laws that Biden's alcohol czar, who is Dr. George Cobb, is recommending 2 alcoholic drinks in a week. So that's a drastic cut. That's down from a previous.
What is that one, brother?
This is coming from the Biden administration. It says here, Dr. George Cobb, alcohol czar for President Joe Biden, recently told the Daily Mail that the U.S. is looking at Canada's recent alcohol consumption guideline changes, which now recommend people limit themselves to 2 alcoholic drinks in a week in order to reduce the health risks associated with drinking.
So, but that
now, I don't want
Dave.
Is taking place or is in full effort in Canada? That's what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yes.
Wow.
And it's trying to trickle down to the United States.
Yes.
So that's going to have a huge impact because, we were talking about cigars a while ago with the brick and mortars. We have more boutique beers, craft beers in this country. I mean, that impacts families, it impacts jobs. I mean, there's so much. It impacts farmers because you've got to think. Most of our hops and our wheat and everything for our beers is in the United States. So that has a huge impact. And I'm going to say, I'm hating the fact that they're saying 1 for women. That's just,
wow.
That's just short men out there.
The whole thing is ridiculous. And we need to pay attention to what's going on in legislation, not just with cigars, but with the alcoholic industry as well. And we always say, people just drink responsibly, and it's not a problem. If you drink responsibly, it's not going to have an effect on your health, just like everything else in life. But that's our news and events, and we will be right back. All right, Mr. Cigar Traveler, Zach, before we went to break, you had a question.
I had a few.
Uh-oh.
Pedro, I wanted to credit Pedro. When I was at an event with him, with Rayford, he taught me a very good piece of sage advice. He says, I just love him because he's like a brother to me. He says, don't just save your cigars for special occasions because sometimes that special occasion will be at your funeral.
That's right.
So, show you a blast from the past.
Oh, man, that's what I'm talking
All right.
about. That's what it is.
This is what I recommended. This is one of my top 5 for 2022. I got to tell you, I'm going to be reaching out to you and Jonathan to do a limited release for this to bring this bad boy back, because this is one of my favorite cigars you guys have ever made.
Cuba Arte.
Bring it back, brother. Bring it back.
So when that happens, Cigar Traveler, I'm going to challenge you to write up a review of that cigar.
Dude, I'll do it from top to bottom, 5 pages. I can tell you all the notes and everything.
Yeah.
Not 5 pages. You got to put the format. Okay, let's get into cigars if we can, because I want to make sure that we're cognizant of our time as well, and especially Pedro's time. Let's start off with the Liga Privadas. Tell what were the original Ligas, and tell us a little bit about them, and then go into some of the other brands that you want to highlight.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much for the question, because right now what's going on at Drew Estate, this is our Liga Privada month. Everything from September the 1st to the last day of this month, everything is about Liga Privada. And one thing to really highlight that beautiful brand that has bring so much to Drew Estate is that everybody that is attending to our Drew Estate events that are happening all over the United States, they're going to be able to get their Liga Privada swag, which is a beautiful cigar rest, a nice Liga Privada cutter, a beautiful Liga Privada clack, and an amazing Liga Privada wash leather case. So, come to the question. Yes, you got to go to www.drewestate.com/events, and then you will see where is the Drew Estate events that are happening right there in your area. So,
I told y'all one if you're local to DFW, Wild is having one this weekend.
There it is. Now, in terms of Liga Privada, the cigar itself, the first time that we launched Liga Privada, I remember like it was yesterday. And it was at the IPCPR. Now everybody called them PCA. And it was the Liga Privada number 9. And we launched that one in 2 different sizes, which was the Robusto and the Toro. Right around that time, a lot of people thought that it was an infused cigars, because that's how Drew Estate was well known back in the days. And basically we took everybody by surprise, launching a beautiful traditional cigar, medium to full. And then the following year we launched Liga Privada T52, and then we launched T52 with 2 sizes, the Toro and the Robusto. And then right around the same year at the same show, we added 2 new sizes to Liga number 9, which was the Double Corona, and the other one, it was the Bellicoso. So now, from 2008 to 2009 to 2018, we have launched a beautiful cigar line that is called Serie Unico. Within the Serie Unico, we got Papas Fritas, Nasty Fritas, Dirty Rat, Ratzilla, Velvet Rat, UF13, Federal Flying Pig, and all the excuses that we have done and create for other business partners, like Panchera, which is that cigar. Liga Privada Panchera is only available for 2 stores in the United States, and that release usually happens right around October and November. And those stores are one that is located in Havertown, Pennsylvania, and that one is called Wooden Indian Tobacco Shop, and the other one is in Union, New Jersey, and that one is a Ballard Store cigar shop. And then we have 2018, we released Liga Privada Aniversario to celebrate 10 years of Liga Privada being in the market. And then right around the same year, we released Liga Privada Age 99. Those last 2, because we didn't have enough supply of raw materials, we only were releasing that cigar in sweepstake. That means that every month, all those Drew Diplomat store that place an order on that month, we were doing like a raffle, picking name of the store, of the cigar stores live on Facebook, and then we were sending to those people 3 boxes of Liga Privada Aniversario and 2 boxes of Age 99. We couldn't send more because we didn't have enough tobacco as a raw material, so we didn't want to rush the beautiful brand, and most importantly, the beautiful blend.
Yes.
But we have been increasing our purchase of buying more raw material, and now we got
Mm.
more Liga Privada available, but always at Drew Estate, always conscious about the quality and the consistency. This year we launched a Liga Privada. We added more sizes or more presentations to Liga Privada Age 99 as well as Liga Privada Aniversario, where you can find Liga Privada Aniversario en Robusto and Toro. In Age 99, you can find the Robusto and Toros, Super Anchos, Papas Fritas, and Finish Gauge, which is a beautiful Lancero with the Age 99 blend. Then, 2 weeks ago, we unleashed a beautiful, amazing beast, which is Liga Privada Aniversario Selección de Mercado. We're going to be launching that brand at the Intertabac in Dortmund, Germany. And Jonathan Drew is going to be there. Other people from my team are going to be there. I'm going to be there. Jonathan is doing the first Liga Privada Selección de Mercado this weekend in Turkey, in Istanbul. And then after Germany trade show, I'm going to be heading to Romania. I got 2 events over there. Then we're gonna be flying to Bulgaria. I got 2 events over there, and then we're gonna be flying to Hungary. I got 2 events over there. So, in terms of Selección de Mercado, yes, it's a cigar that it was a long time coming because everybody that has been supporting Drew Estate, you guys, I mean, the people that live overseas and they see, when we launched Blackett by Drew Estate, our collaboration with Metallica, and we didn't
Mm-hmm.
have Blackett available for them.
Oh.
This time we are showing them a lot of love, the love that every
Mm.
cigar
Love that.
smoker deserves,
Mhm.
which is having the opportunity to try those cigars that a lot of people talk about. And for us and for myself, it's a beautiful privilege to be in those countries,
Mhm.
bringing what my people and what my beautiful country has to offer, which is cigars totally different type. Because when you look at Drew Estate portfolio, we have infused cigars like acid cigars and tobacco especial, non-traditional cigars like Kentucky Fire Cure, Pappy Van Winkle, Deadwood cigars, traditional cigars like Liga Privada, Herrera Esteli, Nica Rustica, Undercrown, 20 Acre Farm, Factory Smokes, Blackett by Drew Estate. And at the end of the day, our goal is to have a cigar for every palate out there
And
and
I
to
think
bring
y'all
people on.
done that. Y'all done that because it's like whenever I started, like I knew there was lots of brew estates out there, but when I started working at the cigar shop and kind of like looking at the orders and like the sheet, I was flabbergasted. And because y'all have over 100 facings, it's like insane. I mean, if you really think about it, there's no other company out there that's got 100 facings like y'all, and it is for everybody. For example, my daughter, she likes the Sweet James. So when she smokes a cigar, she gets one of those. She gets one of those sweet ones that y'all do, and I kind of give her a joke. I was like, "You need to take off your training wheels and smoke a real cigar." But to me, I really don't care because I'm sitting there enjoying and smoking a cigar with my daughter, and that is beautiful. It's an
Thank you so
opportunity.
very much. Yes, when it comes to all those cigars, guys, and I want to give a beautiful shout out to Joe Giuliano that is tuning with us, as well as Rick Austin, Chris Cutler. Excuse if I don't pronounce well your last name, buddy. I got my Tony Montana English going on right now, but everybody that has been tuning tonight, thank you so very much, and come back to you, Ash Red. I mean, yes, our portfolio of brands is very kind of it goes from one spectrum to the next one,
It does.
and something that we take very seriously. It's not just releasing a new cigar line every year for the sake to have something new.
Right.
It's about building brands.
Hmm.
It's about the brands that you launched 20 years ago. They are still going and they're still going hard.
Hmm.
Yes.
The brands that we release, a good example, Undercrown. Undercrown Maduro, the regular Maduro,
Hmm.
was launched in October in 2010. And then from 2010 to 2015, we launched the Undercrown Shade, then the Undercrown
Mhm.
Sungrown. We did
Uh,
collaboration with Shady Records, releasing
mhm,
Shady Undercrown Shady 20th. And then we have done collaboration with Cigar Dojo, which is the Undercrown Dagma and the Sungrown Dojo
mhm.
Dagma. And then 2020, we released the Undercrown 10, a medium to full body smoke that
Which
celebrates the 10 years.
you gave me one of those at Good Karma,
Oh, yeah,
and
a
I
test.
I gotta tell you, I mean, I've been a fan of the Underground
Mhm.
Maduro since 20 was I think I smoked my first one in 2011, 2012. So I've been a fan of Underground since that time. But my brother, that Underground 10 was so good. I've got one more in there, and I was like, no, I'm going to save that. I'm going to smoke the H99 instead. I mean, it is such a beautiful smoke, and I thank you for giving that to me and
Thank you so
introducing
very
me
much,
to
man.
that one. I love it.
Thank you.
You mentioned, I mean, you mentioned Hoya de Nicaragua. You mentioned Jerez de Esteli. Other great brands that you guys have.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I got to tell you a little bit of a story. So when I first met Zach, our brother Zach, I gave him a hard time because he was coming to. We were at an event and he was coming up, and I saw that he was smoking an acid, and I gave him a hard time. I was like, "Man, you're a
Give him shit.
poser. You're a poser." I gave him shit. Said, "Man,
You
you're a
give him
poser.
shit.
You're not smoking cigars. You're smoking infused." Just to give him a razz. But with that being said, I have introduced a number of different people to cigars because of the
Mhm.
lines of the acid, who've
Right.
never smoked a cigar,
Mhm.
because of the Deadwoods line that you've got.
Mhm. Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about what's the inspiration behind the sweet tipped and the infused cigars? Because
Mhm.
they're beautiful smokes. They're beautiful smokes.
Mhm.
That's right. So, what's the inspiration? I will say the inspiration, brother. And let's go back to what acid is all about. Acid, as you said, my friend, is a cigar for new cigar smokers. The first cigar that
Mhm.
I smoked in my life, it was a Drew Estate factory. I remember it was the first thing, the first day at the job that they asked me to try, and I was in love with acid Cubaco.
Mhm.
And that was the only thing that I was smoking because it was a very pleasant smoke for my very young palate back in that time. So if you really put your mind into it, if you got really want to go back, and I'm talking about early 1999, right around that year, all of the cigars that were launching to the market, it was traditional cigars, but it wasn't nothing that a new cigar smoker will get the opportunity to go and explore. Besides this, what else is out there?
Mhm.
So for us, it is about bringing people together, not just new cigar smokers. It's about showing the people about the community that we have, but most importantly, if acid and tobacco special wouldn't be infused, they wouldn't be still amazing
Yes.
mild to medium traditional cigars.
Mhm.
But the inspiration, brother, is about thinking outside of the box.
Mhm.
Not follow the trend, create the trend. And by
Mhm.
creating the trend is about making things happen or
Mhm.
breaking what you have built. But
Mhm.
in terms of cigars, it's about the education part. It's about
Right.
exactly what you guys are doing right now. Talking to people out there and to tell them that there are beautiful things in life that you can't not go, that you're not gonna have enough to
Mhm.
enjoy about this. And the inspiration comes from the company itself, and everything that we do it with love. That's the number one ingredient. It's love,
Love that.
love
Yes,
and
love it.
passion.
It's all about the culture.
Mhm. Okay, so I know that we had a question. So, Cigar Traveler, if one of the people couldn't see your cigar because of the cello, the reflection. So, if you wouldn't mind, like showing it and telling them what it was, because they did ask, they're like, "Well, I didn't get to see it," and they didn't hear. So, if you could please tell them.
Sure. It's a Cuba Arty, and if any body that's not familiar with this cigar, it's basically a Cuba on steroids. This will overload your palate with herbs and spices. And I always like to pick on Pedro about this. Pedro, why don't you tell the audience how deeply guarded the secret of the infused process is at Drew Estate?
Oh my goodness. I remember back in the days when I used to run these cigar safari tours, and I was taking these people, through the factory. And I remember that always there was somebody asking a question. Pedro, how do you guys do the infusion? And my number one answer was, Al Capone? I said, what do you mean Al Capone? Yeah, the gangster from Chicago. Al Capone had said that he said, a world secret can be kept among 3 people as long as 2 of them are dead.
Are dead.
Yep.
So yes, in the factory, yes. I mean, when it comes to that, it is. Acid itself, man. It's a beautiful cigar. It's a very tasty smoke. And one thing that if you wanna judge a cigar from the beginning to the end.
Yes, sir.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
sir.
half the time, not just to see the first page of the book, have the time to read the entire book, because the cigar itself is gonna bring you so many great smoking experience, and everything is based on the combustion, everything is based on the draw, everything is based on the quality of the raw material, everything is based, those 3 things: the aroma, the combustion, the tobacco itself, is what really set the record straight. The rest of the other stuff, guys, is the salt and pepper that every company, not just in the cigar industry, but every company added to their product and service that they sell out there.
Hey, Pedro. So we've saw the wonderful releases of the Blackened M81, the Nica Rustica Adobe, the Papas Fritas H99s. So for people that are big advocates of this acid line, are we going to have any new releases for the acid line anytime soon?
Anytime soon. Wow. Well, in 2019, we launched the Acid 20th, which is the Acid 20 celebrate 20 years of acid being in the market.
Love
we
that
got Acid 20 and the Maduro and the Connecticut Shade. And I do remember that it was last year, right around January, where we launched the Acid 20 Connecticut Toto. Wow. I just smoked 2 Acid 20 Connecticut back to back, one after another one. I was pairing that one with a very nice sweet wine, and it pairs really, really nice. In terms of what we're going to do in the future, we got a lot of things, bro. We got a lot of things. The only thing
happy face
is to stay tuned. And how people stay tuned? People stay tuned on our freestyle life. That's when we break down everything what's going on at Drew Estate, and when we tell everybody what everything that is coming to them.
And my pairing, and one more thing, Graybeard. This pairs well with a mojito. That's all I was going to say. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm trying. Let's jump to the final verdict so that we can talk about our current pairings and get into the second half of the show.
Very nice. Well, guys, I want to thank you.
Sorry about that, Pedro. I cut you off.
No, what I
Okay,
was about
fine.
to tell you guys,
Yeah, please.
thank you so very much for having me. It was a pleasure to spend this amazing hour with you guys, and thank you so very much for thinking about Drew Estate. Everybody that is tuning tonight in this amazing show, I want to thank you guys on behalf of Drew Estate right here in the United States, but most importantly, on behalf of Drew Estate Factory in my hometown, Estelí, Nicaragua. Keep smoking cigars and keep buying more Drew Estate. Because if you keep
Now,
buying, we're gonna keep making them, right?
right, right. Stay with us because after the final verdict, we got questions from the audience.
Oh, all right. So I'm
So,
gonna take the last question before I jump into another meeting.
okay, so you got to jump out real quick.
Oh no, I have let's take the last question and I'm gonna break it down in the next 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and let's just change things around a little bit. Let's go ahead
Mhm.
and take the last question and do the two giveaways that we have because I would like for you to be on with them.
Yes.
All right. So last question that we've got really comes from Scott Shiner, and that is, how did Deadwood become part of DE and what year?
Oh wow, very nice, Scott. Thank you so very much for following Drew Stay, and thank you so very much for having the opportunity to found what we call a Drew Stay, the Yummy Ones, which is Deadwood. In our Deadwood line, we got Sweet James, Crazy Alice, Leather Rose, Fat Bottom Belly, and the Girl with No Name. So everything start, if you really want to go back, there is this beautiful motorcycle festival or motorcycle rally that happens in South Dakota. And there is this amazing cigar bar and lounge that is called Deadwood Tobacco. So the lady that used to own that cigar bar and lounge, her name is Bomb, and what Bomb was the number one, not the number one, she was the originals accounts for Drew Estate. She really
Oh.
embraced Drew Estate, where we were trying to, s- it, selling a cigar. She really believed on Drew Estate, and then she became a big account for all of us. And what we did as a
Okay.
company, we create a cigar for that store. And the first original blend was Sweet Jane. So Sweet Jane was born in South Dakota, and then Sweet Jane started to become very very popular all around the country. So what Drew Estate did, obviously, everything. What we did was about doing right because she was her putting legs into that cigar, and then we acquired the brand back, obviously, through legal contract and everything, and she was very happy with it, how the whole thing happened, because at the end of the day, without Bomb, Deadwood Tobacco wouldn't be
Mhm.
Sweet Jane. Without her, wouldn't be Deadwood Cigars. And then after that, we took Deadwood to a whole different level to expand
Mhm.
Deadwood Cigars to all over the country. And then we started to release Fat Bottom Belly, Crazy Alice. Then we released Leather Rose, and the last one that we have been releasing since last year has been the Girl with No Name, a partnership that we do with our business partner, in this case, Cigar International, Famous Cigars, and the last one that came out this week, which was JR Cigars. So at the end of the day, for us, it's about bringing the spotlight to Deadwood, because Deadwood deserves a beautiful spotlight in our portfolio. And without everybody's support, Deadwood wouldn't become what Deadwood is. Deadwood is a hot brand right now. We haven't
Mhm.
reached the point where the supply hit the demand, still growing to the point that, for people up there, when they cannot find Deadwood cigar, it's not because we don't want to sell it to them. It's because they are selling so fast. And right
Mhm.
now, we are launching Deadwood in other countries. Besides,
Mm-hmm.
the great relationship that we have with a lot of business partners right here in the United States, Drew Estate have different partnership through distributions in 75 different countries. in Europe, Asia, Africa, and some countries in Latin America, and obviously in the Caribbean. So, but at the end of the day, it's about bringing the rebirth of cigars to a whole different level. And and in terms of Deadwood, Scott, thank you so very much for following through. Last year, we released amazing swag to create it as a in-store event, store promotion, which
Yep.
was a beautiful coffin that holds
Humidor.
300 cigars,
Yes.
a
Yes.
Oh,
beautiful, I
wow.
mean, a lot of beautiful things. But at the end of the day, this is just the beginning for Drew Estate. There is a lot of great, beautiful things coming, and we just can't wait to release it at the right time because cigars are ready when the tobacco is ready.
Okay, so everybody get ready. Here is so your the very first thing that we're going to be giving away is this beautiful, beautiful Drew Estate thermos right here. Okay, so if you want this Drew Estate thermos, answer this question here. And the first one, so Red, I'm going to ask that you pay attention for me to see who was the first one to answer this question.
Okay.
What month and year did Swisher buy Drew Estate? This is for the thermos. First person to answer. What month and year did Swisher buy Drew Estate? Now, if you've been paying attention, Pedro gave that answer.
Okay, Scott says June of 2014.
Pedro, is that the correct answer? June of 2014, is that when Swisher bought DE? Any other guesses? Pedro, is this the correct answer? I don't see any other guesses coming in. Okay, Mr. Scott Shiner, you have won the thermos.
Are we having
Oh,
trouble with the internet, guys? How is your
yeah,
internet connection with you?
it's
Oh,
good.
it
I'm
is on my
Yeah,
end.
yeah. So, what year did Drew Estate come out with? Now I forgot the question.
what
What month?
year did what month and year did Swisher buy Drew Estate?
Yes, thank you.
Can you hear me, Pedro?
Yes,
I think he said
you said the question, guys, for everybody that has been tuning right now.
yeah.
What year, what month and year the Switcher International by Drew Estate?
So
Hmm.
So
we've
Scott
got
said
June of
June 2014.
yes,
Uh-huh. Then we
and
have
we
October of 2014. Then we have January of 2014. So it is the correct answer.
Okay.
which one of these is the correct answer?
Oh, I think that we got a winner right here. Chris
Well,
Kotler.
well,
Chris
actually, it was
Kotler said
billionaire,
October 2014, and
and it was
that's
actually
the right
billionaire.
Yeah,
answer. And then we got
billionaire.
billionaire. Well,
Billionaire
billionaire
was the
said,
first.
well,
He
both got the right answer.
Yes.
But both of you are the right answer, but Billionaire, you did get the correct answer first. So Billionaire, DM
All
me
right.
your mailing address, and I will get it to you. Okay, next question. This one is not going to be as easy because this one is for the backpack. This one is for the backpack.
Oh, nice.
This question is, what are the names of 3 of the Liga Privada offerings? What are the names of 3 of the Liga Privada offerings? This is for the backpack. And we are waiting for some answers. People are searching. People are Googling right now. I know people are Googling right now instead of. They weren't taking notes during the show.
No.
All right, Jason Sharp. He got this one right off the bat. The 9, the T52, and the Unico.
Good job, Jason.
All right, Jason. If you could DM me your mailing address, and you have won this one. Okay, so again, the last prize requires some work on you. You need to go out. You need to pair, because we are the twisted pairing. We are the twisted pair. You need to get this beautiful case. You need to pair a Drew Estate cigar with something. You need to post it on Instagram. You need to follow and tag Pedro. You need to follow and tag Drew Estate Cigars, Leaf and Grain Society, Red, and myself. And I will be checking to see that you have tagged us and that you are following us. If you don't tag us and you don't follow us, then your entry does not count. You have till midnight on Sunday, and I will raffle off all of the entries. We will do a randomizer and all of the entries on Monday on live on Instagram. Pedro, thank you so much, brother. I know that you have got to go because you have got a meeting. We appreciate you. We love you, brother, and everything you do. Great success. So excited about what's coming up from Drew Estate in the next coming year. So excited. You guys are doing just amazing things and keep growing the culture.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you so very much,
Thank
and
you.
everybody. Thank you to you guys. I truly appreciate your time. Thank you so very much for giving me your platform to talk on behalf of Drew Estate and everybody up there. Stay blessed, stay smoking, and live life, right? See you guys soon.
Everybody, please stay tuned to the show because we will be right back. Wow, that was just absolutely incredible with everything, all of the story of how Pedro got into cigars, and his journey. I love the story. We love the stories. That was just mind blowing.
Well, I'm ready for final verdict.
Let's do this.
So I'm going to have you start off because normally I start off. So I'm going to say, Graybeard, you get to start off.
Well, if you haven't read the review that I put up on the H99, please go out and check out the website on it. Came in and scored it at a 94. And I've got to say, I've been pairing it with this Italian red wine, and everything that I had hoped for on this pairing, bringing forward those creamy notes, bringing forward some of the subtle fruity notes in the cigar. This has been an absolute beautiful pairing, and I've got to say, I mean, beyond just the fact that I scored the cigar as a 94, pairing it with a red blend wine, you can even take this and pair it with a full body such as a Cabernet Sauvignon, Tempranillo, a Syrah, a Bordeaux. I mean, this has just been beautiful. My final verdict on this one is hands down yes. This is a pairing to visit. This is a cigar that's box worthy. This is something to go out and look for.
Okay, Cigar Traveler. He kind of had like two different pairings almost because he had his two cigars with his beverage. So, what did you think of your pairing? And I would like to see, like, did it change? How was it with the first one, and how was it with the second one?
So the Liga Privada 10 Anniversario Savage Feast definitely goes well with the blackened whiskey, the original cask strength one, and not the non-cask strength one. It definitely brings out the apricot notes and the whiskey, and it definitely brings out the woody notes, the cedar notes, and the Liga Privada. And as far as the other cigar that I'm smoking down to the nub, that's what
Yes.
I love about this cigar. I can smoke it down to the nub. It goes well with mojitos, and also goes well with fruity cocktails. So anything with a sweetness, it will bring out the herbs and the spices. Now, obviously, I can't be more specific about that because they keep it all secret. But of course, you can pair one side, not both sides, like you can with the typical cigar. But I promise you drink a fruity drink, you will enjoy it with a Blue Label acid cigar.
Awesome. All right, Red.
Okay, so I did, a peanut butter stout with the Miami. Hold on. The Herrera Esteli Miami, and it was complimentary. It was one that was good. I really think that an IPA would have been really good with this because you have your creaminess in the sweet, uh, definitely that's in the cigar. I mean, it was nice with it. There was a lot of times that I got some kind of like a s'mores because of the pairing of it together. I make my s'mores a little bit different. I make mine with peanut butter, Reese's peanut butter cups instead of Hershey's. So, and it had that creaminess, the marshmallow. It was definitely there, especially towards the second and the final third. Um, but I really would have enjoyed to see what an IPA would have done with it,
Hmm.
especially with like the mangoes and the fruits. I think it would have been a really good pairing with that. So a lot of people are kind of nervous to pair their cigars with an IPA. But my thing is, don't be scared to try it. I think this would have been phenomenal with an IPA, especially
It's
more like
that's
the mango and the pineapple would have been fantastic with it.
I think I want to try this cigar with like the H99 with like a maybe a Highland or a Speyside Scotch that's got a little bit more of the floral notes in it to see how that
Hmm.
would go, or maybe with
Hmm.
like a wheated bourbon as well. I think that those would go really, really good. Okay, we got a
There's
question. Go ahead.
go ahead. There was one that I kind of like. I think one cigar that they do that gets like so overlooked is the 20 Acres. That cigar is such a great cigar. Um, I had it for the like not too long ago. I want to say maybe a couple months ago, stuck in traffic and I was driving, and it made that road trip from the cigar lounge back to home. Uh, or like no, the cigar. I was going home right when traffic was hitting to the cigar lounge, and I actually texted Ryan and I was like, holy crap, this is not talked about enough. This is a phenomenal cigar. And it is one of those that you could smoke with your morning coffee, especially if you're like a lot of creamer in your coffee. That is one, the 20 acres is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
So,
Jason says that the 20 acres is one of his favorites. In fact, he's only 20 minutes from the 20-acre farm, so that kind of makes it a little bit better. And Joe, who's one of our reviewers, he says that it pairs great with Glenmorangi's Tale of Winter, the Marsala cast finish, which that's a phenomenal scotch. We've got a question for the panel here coming in from Billionaire. Do you remember the first Drew Estate cigar you smoked? Billionaire, you worked in a lot of y'alls in that that question. That was good. That's hats off on that one. I'm going to go first on this one because I did mention it in the show. My first Drew Estate that I ever smoked was the Underground Maduro, and back in the I think it was 2011, 2012, somewhere around that time. It was when I was introduced to it. So that was my first Drew Estate.
Well, it's like Cigar Traveler's been smoking Drew Estate, I think, since he was a baby.
I think so too. I think Cigar Traveler owns more Drew Estate swag than probably Drew Estate themselves. So Cigar Traveler, what was your first Drew Estate cigar you smoked?
I know. That's what I'm curious.
The first Drew Estate cigar I smoked, by the way, I'm smoking a Kentucky Fire Cured. Very, very good smoke. Very good smoky smoke. If you like a smoky smoke, this is a good one to go. I've probably smoked my first one in year 2000. I was in, of all places, Seattle, Washington. I was with my friend that he wanted. He had asthma at the time. That's what made it even more hilarious. He's like, no, man, I want to do what you're doing. And I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. So we got 2 cigars, and it was 2 Cubas in the year 2000, and we went right off of Vancouver Island, and we have a picture I'll have to show you guys sometimes of an orca jumping out of the water right behind us.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
what a memorable experience. That's why he likes me so much.
I know. I'm telling. I've been known to call my brother Zach here the Drew Estate whore. I mean,
he is a Drew Estate whore. I mean, God.
And that is a compliment. That is a compliment. When it comes to Drew Estate, if we have a question, we go to this man right here. He's our Drew Estate connection.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Zach, I want to say thank you for setting this guest up. You know, because you were the one that had been the driving force about getting Drew Estate on the show, and so thank you for that. Red, your first Drew Estate.
Okay, so I'm going to be like straight up honest because like what I knew about Drew Estates was those flavored, and you know I was the female that was not going to smoke flavored, so I stayed clear from Drew Estate because I didn't want that. Oh, there's a female, that's all she smokes is those flavored cigars. So I stayed clear for Drew Estate forever. So I had my first Drew Estate 4 years ago, and it was actually at Addison Cigar Lounge, which would not too, up in Addison. And I had the Shady, the one that he was talking about was Slim Shady. So the Connecticut, that was my first Drew Estate because I was scared to death to smoke a Drew Estate. Even though it was natural tobacco and people are going to be like, that's really weird. Like, why were you? Because I didn't want that stigma that all females smoke it.
Right.
Even though it wasn't a flavored, it's a beautiful Connie. It's really the Shady. And I'm like, holy crap. Actually, I said, holy shit, I've been missing out. Because I just they had that stigma about them. So, that was my first one that I had ever had was that Shady at that lounge. And the tobacconist there was like, Red, you're going to enjoy it. Stop being hateful towards Drew Estate. Smoke it. And I did. And it was really enjoyable. And it's like every year, and I'm especially saying this one for Ryan. Here you go. Every football season, Cowboys play. Cowboys have that blue color, even though it's gold for the undercrown. I have to go with the Drew Estate undercrown, the blues, because they're my boys' colors. So you're going to see undercrown popping up Drew Estate because it's my Cowboys blue. So
Love,
that,
love that.
yeah, yeah. So and it kind of it's kind of like we talked about it. It's because like Drew Estates, you think of like the acid, the flavors, and all of that stuff. So that's kind of don't don't think that their regular production is not good because their regular production is phenomenal.
The
So
regular
don't,
production
mhm.
is very good. I mean, and there's so many offerings with
It's
the Hoya
ridiculous.
yes, the Hoya
The,
de
the,
Nicaragua,
yeah. Oh yeah. And I
the
have the Grand Reserve on that one. I almost smoked that one. I was like, no, I think I'm gonna go with the Miami.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've smoked a few of those. The Herrera de
hmm
Esteliz are such great
hmm
smokes. Scott Shiner says his first was the Kahlua and the Natural back in 2007. So Joe's asked a question, and this one is for
hmm
me, and he Jason, you just lost yourself some points right there, buddy, with both of us here. He says going to have to deduct some points from
Oh,
Ash Red for being a Cowboys fan. I'm a Cowboys fan too, but you probably get a few more points from Zach, the Cigar Traveler, because I happen to know that he's not a Cowboys fan, but I love him anyways. Um, Joe says,
it's
I'm
our year.
curious
It's our
as
year. No, I'm just kidding.
Joe says, I'm curious how you deduct points when reviewing cigars, like the 6 points deducted from the H99, for example. When I'm reviewing a cigar, I look at all aspects of it. I look at the
hmm
presentation. I look at the taste. I look at the construction, the burn on it. And I'm going to pull up the spreadsheet on this. The appearance and manufacturing scored really high at a 96. I mean,
hmm
with its beautiful colors,
It does.
um, lot. I mean, there's a good balance of the veins in there. It's
hmm
got some nice texture to it.
It
I
does.
came down a little bit on it because in the description of it, they were saying that this is paying homage to the Cuban cigars, especially with the Corojo. And if you look at
hmm
a Cuban cigar is not going to have any vein. A true Cuban's not going to have any veins.
Right.
There's not going to be any texture. It's going to be a perfectly smooth. So because
hmm
of that, I came down. a couple of points on it. Let me pull my spreadsheet back up here. The taste, I came in at a 92 on this, and that's really what brought it down. And that's because in the first third of it, I was expecting a little bit more. The coffee and the cocoa notes was
hmm
nice, and the nutty notes was nice, but it wasn't what I was expecting coming into it. It was such a difference in, say, like the T9s and the T52s, where
hmm
it's a spicy,
Right off the bat.
much more peppery, spicy right off the bat. However, the cigar did pick up on it, and I
hmm
originally had that one down at an 88 on the taste, but as I got into the middle of it, where
hmm
the cocos and the vanilla notes, and I've never picked up vanilla
Vanilla.
notes in a cigar at all, and the vanilla on the retro, and that brought it up. So when I'm deducting points, a lot of it comes down to what preconceptions that I have coming into it and what I'm expecting on it, and
hmm
whether or not it meets up to that expectations. Don't get me
hmm
wrong, a 94 is a great
Good.
score.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, anything 95 and above, it's got to be it's got to be one of the best things that I've ever smoked in the world on
It's gotta
to
be
get those
an.
high scores.
It's gotta be an O. It's gotta be an O.
Yes, it's got
It,
it's got
it,
to be an O.
yeah, and I'm gonna agree with you because I had the H99 before they came out. I'll just say it
I
kind of like that.
I
So
I know a guy.
no, it wasn't from I know a guy. So I had it and I tasted it and like right off the bat I was just kind of like this is going to be your H99. This is going to be one that you're putting out there. And right off the bat I was not really impressed with it. But as it picked up, kind of like how you were saying, I was like, and it's after 9 o'clock, I think, so I can say this, or close enough. I said, holy fuck, because I did get that vanilla as well. And I hadn't tasted that. And it was very unusual. It was different. And I loved it. So, like, I agree with you on that one. And I'm kind of going to say the same thing with the Miami. When you first start the Miami, it's not going to be like in your face. It starts off slow, but then it completely picks up. Like, when you're in the second, third transition, you're going to get that full force. And we want our cigars to transition, but when we first start, light it up with a cigar, you want some taste at the very beginning. You just don't want it like subtle hints. You want something that you're able to taste. And so I 100% agree with that on the H99. I kind of wish it was like that from the beginning to the end, because that would have been like, if it would have been like that from the beginning to the end, and kind of like the same with the Miami, it would have scored a lot higher, I think.
I think so too, and I smoked a couple of these, before, this is my third one, so I smoked one,
Mm-hmm.
got an understanding of it, then I smoked another
Mm-hmm.
one, and did the review. And as far as the construction, I mean, even this one here, the construction, I haven't had to relight it. I didn't have to
Yeah.
relight the other one. I did get a little bit of canoeing on it, but it corrected itself. I didn't have to touch it up. It was able to correct itself in there. There's Zach showing off his Drew Estate collection. I want to say that's not even a tenth of it.
That's not even a tenth. That's just
That's
like,
not.
that's just like stuff I'm taking to the lounge.
That's actually
I-
the H99 Flying Piggies, like
Yeah.
at the Barn Smoker. You guys are talking about it. What I really want to segue into that conversation is that what I love about the H99, and I put my stamp of seal of approval on it. It is the perfect cigar for a pairing. Like I'm not saying other cigars don't have other things that accentuate other flavors profiles, but with the H99, I enjoy it so much more. So when I smoke an H99, I always pair it with something. That's what I was going to say. I always have some type of a old fashioned or a Manhattan or something with the H99 because it just goes
I can
well.
see that. I can see that.
Especially with the rye.
Mhm.
Holy crap, that would be like really, really good.
Very, very
Okay,
delicious.
do you want to go on this one first, or do you want me to take it first?
No, I want to go on this one first
Okay.
because I'm the one that's just talking about expectations. I agree. Most would argue that expectations is likely to lead to a disappointment, but I want to caveat that with that it's human nature. It's very hard not to have some kind of expectation when coming into reviewing a cigar. And the reason why is the only way that I can come in without any expectations is if I know nothing about that cigar, never heard it before, never smoked it before, nothing, don't know anything about it. So no expectations can be built up. Well, I happen to know the Liga brand. I've smoked a number of the T9s, the L40s, the T52s. For a long period of time, and so it's very difficult to put all of those expectations away. I try to not allow those to sway me on it, but even on this, okay. So when we're talking on this one here, when we're talking really it's a $17 to $19 price range for this cigar. You can find some. You can find some down in the $15 price range. So from my research on this, but for that dollar value, that price point on the cigar, it's not in that luxury line price point of it, but it's still kind of up there. I would expect looking at the foot to see even construction all the way throughout of it. And I noticed that on the construction in the foot, that part of it seemed to be a little bit tighter packed. And the cigar was extremely firm. I was very glad that the draw was beautiful. I mean, great body of smoke. I said that this was a medium full because it wasn't heavy. The viscosity of it, the mouthfeel of it was nice. It was pleasant on it. But in looking at the construction on it, looking at it in the visual appearance, I was immediately thinking that I was going to have to use a draw tool, which I didn't, and take something, out of it on there. So those kind of come into play on that. Now, if this was, say, like a $8, $9, $10 cigars, such as some of the undergrounds and some of the other ones that we've mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
then I wouldn't have placed as much weight on the visual of it. The other thing for me is that on the nose of it, the cold nose and the cold draw went into the light, and I was picking up those notes on it. But on the nose, I was picking up some minty notes on it, and in smoking the cigar, I didn't get any mint whatsoever at all throughout it. And so that was telling me that there was some sweeter notes in the cigar that wasn't present in the smoking of it, but absolutely was present in the pairing of it. So all of those kind of things come into play when I'm reviewing and I'm scoring a cigar.
And for me, and I kind of want to say, as I'm going to look at this question again. So he said that like, when you're buying a cigar and you buy from a brand, like, known as like Drew Estate, or you're buying a Davidoff, or you're buying, even like a Karen, or, just something that you're going to spend a little bit more money, you have that expectation of how it should be. So it's not necessarily, you can't totally dismiss that, because you have to consider, kind of like what we were saying, you have to consider the look, you have to consider, what we expect from this company and what we're paying for this cigar. So that is, it's human nature, and it's what the consumer is expecting. So, I kind of want to do that, is like, there's time that, they're sitting there claiming all this stuff, and, you're not taking you know, they're saying, oh, we've got this and this and this and this and this. And if it's not meeting that expectations that they're putting out there, then yeah, we need to be truthful about it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like my take on it as well.
You want to go with this next question, which these are some great
Mhm.
questions, and billionaire will hit yours up right after this one because it fits perfectly.
So could we argue a new or different blend deserves an open mind versus expectation? So, I mean, it's just, I'm going to go back to where, it's what's being put out there and what they're expecting the consumer to have. I mean, yes, every time we go to a blend, we're going to have an open mind. But if they're setting expectations of what you should have, what experience you should have from that cigar, we're going to judge them on that experience. Because if they're advertising that there's no construction issue, it is, smooth, it's beautiful to the touch. There's, uh, it reminds me of a Cuban, even if it's a new blend. But if they're saying that, then they need to be accountable for that. And it's not, I don't want to say it's expectation, it's holding them accountable for what they're saying. Is
Yeah,
that a good way to say it?
no, I think that's a perfect way of saying it.
Hmm.
Had they not stated that this was a Cubanesque style cigar, then maybe I would have looked at the appearance of it a little bit better. And don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
this is a beautiful cigar, and scoring up in
Hmm.
the 90s, it is a beautiful cigar. Just from the appearance of it, the coloring, the deep cinnamon, almost like a cherry wood type look to
Hmm.
it, is beautiful, and it lives up to the expectations that I had on it. For me, it just didn't score above a 95 for these different reasons on it. Now, I can't tell you what I would score a T9, the L40, or 52 in the league of line, because I haven't sat down to really delve deep into what the cigar has to offer, and they're all great cigars. I mean, I've said that this one here, the H99 is absolutely 100% box worthy for me, but like what Chris has come back and said, for him, and his palate is different than ours. He wasn't overly impressed with it. It's a solid smoke, but it's not his favorite. The Raji is his favorite DE, followed by the Herrera Steli Lancero. Great cigars. I personally, for me, the Raji was okay. This is a good smoke, but it's not one of my favorites because all of our palates are different. And as a reviewer, I try to I try to be transparent. I try to be holistic in what I'm looking at and not just on my palate. But at the end of the day, I'm going to review it on how I look at it. And if I score it lower, if this came in at a lower than a 90, then in my review I would have said I think this could be better if we did if they did ABC on that. Above a 90, I'm not really going to come back and do that as much.
Hey, guys. One thing I would add. So I was, as you know, as my new coin nickname, Drew Estate Pour. As a Drew Estate Pour, I will say this. I was at a Drew Estate event, Drew Estate Izzy. You got Rayford on the Cigar Lounge side. Then you got Izzy on the Specs side. She helps out with the Specs events. And I had a dislike towards the Cold Fusion Drew Estate acid wine. It's the yellow band one. And she's like, I want you to give it another try, and I want you to mix sweet tea with vodka. And I said, okay. And I did. You
told me about that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to orgasm. And she's like, you are welcome. And it's like, I didn't use those exact words, but that's what I was thinking. I was like, you're the best. And I think that's one of our passions at Leaf and Grain and the Twisted Pair, the gifts that we have with Gray Bear and Red, is that cigars can have a total different profile when you pair them with something. If you watch these shows, guys, what you're going to find out is that you pair it with the right food or the wrong food, it's going to change the whole profile of the cigar. So having those expectations, by all means, shoot them down, because when you pair it with the right food, you pair it with the right drink, it's going to be a bomb versus a dud. And so, I credit Drew Estate Izzy to that. If you're watching, thanks for your tips. And, it makes all the difference what you pair your cigar with. So expectations should always change.
I think this is a great question, and I'd like to address this one first. Okay. I will never review a cigar on one smoke only, because the first smoke, I don't know anything about the cigar. I need to get into it, and I don't feel like I can give it a fair assessment on the first smoke only. So I will always smoke a second cigar, before I write a review. Now, if I came back and say 6 months down the line, review this cigar again, I should come back with the same result, but it really comes back to, is the next one that I'm smoking, is it from the same production lines of what I smoked originally? Yeah. Because just like with wines, we talked about vintages with wines, and I drink a 2016 vintage of say a Bordeaux and a 2018 vintage of a Bordeaux. I'm going to get different notes on it. I'm going to have a different experience, and that's why we see different ratings of wines from the same vineyard, the same wine, the same vintage. This is the 2016 vintage of this one. If I had drank the 2020 vintage of it, probably would be completely different on that. And the same applies to the cigars. So really it comes down to, if that cigar is from the same production, the same tobacco. And you've got, I mean, and the same roller, the same roller who put the cigar together, because all of that comes into play on that. Uh,
Well,
your
and I
guys'
was going to
thoughts?
say, okay, so on this, whenever we're reviewing cigars, it's just the cigar by itself. So I want to make that clear. We're not putting it with any drinks. We are just solely reviewing the cigar. And it kind of, so we're looking at the cigar, we're tasting the notes. And for me, I know that whenever I review a cigar, it has to be completely quiet. No one can bother me. I have pairing wheels. I have the pairing wheel in front of me. I'm writing down constantly. It's not like an enjoyable smoke. I am studying the hell out of the cigar. I'm trying to get every aspect of it. So I always do a second one just in case I miss something from it. And
Yes.
and here's another thing. I'm gonna smoke it at the same time. Like, if I smoked it in the late afternoon, the next night I'm gonna do it this late afternoon, and I'm gonna make sure that my palate is clean, that there's nothing in it that I haven't had, like any dairy, nothing to conflict with that. Because if I ate, like, I can't eat ice cream or drink chocolate milk, but let's just say I had something like that, it coats the tongue. So you have to come with, when you're doing these reviews, I don't think people realize the seriousness that we take the reviews on this stuff. It's a clean palate, it's all that stuff. So I'm going to do another night. And, there's things that I notice that I'll pick up on the second review that I did not notice the first time,
Yep.
you know.
Agreed.
But because like I was so over focused and overthinking, okay, what's this? What's this? What's this? I missed it. So that is why you do it. And normally when I do reviews, it's coming from the same cigar box at the same time because it's usually the same roller, the same production, the same year. They're not using any different type of tobacco. So you've got to make sure that it's coming from that. So I think that's kind of like, whenever people are doing an actual review of it, you've got to do the two, you've got to taste it, and you've got to make sure that your palate's the same for it. And people are like, well, why are you saying at the same time? We know earlier in the morning our taste buds are more awake. That's really the best time to do a review is early in the morning because like everything in your system, it's a fresh start. It's just, there, you're going to be able to acknowledge stuff more. So that's another thing I was going to say is like the best time to do a review is with your first smoke, first beginning of the day to do that. So, but kind of like what we were saying earlier, if you're like, I review a cigar and then a couple months later, I want to say 6 months later or whatever, I'm going to do it again and review my notes. It could be completely different. Just because we don't know if that tobacco got more rain or if there was a tsunami that came and it ruined some of the tobacco leaves. So to do a true review, it's got to be back to back from the same thing. And I'm not saying smoke a cigar back to back. Is
No.
that
No, no.
and
Especially not when you're doing a review. No,
yeah,
because then your palate
it's
is
already
is going to
shot.
be tainted based upon what you've smoked. And so in this particular one, the first one that I smoked was on Sunday morning. And when I reviewed it, when I was doing the review, I smoked it yesterday morning.
Mhm.
And both times, first thing in the morning, didn't have any coffee, didn't have anything to eat. Everything was my palate was cleansed. I had it with water, and I had no distractions whatsoever. And it took me a good 2.5 hours to write it. And I take all my notes, and I'm writing it down in my
Mhm.
notebook or my journal, looking at the pairing wheel. And if you haven't seen our pairing wheel, let me show you the pairing wheel here real quick.
And while you pull that up, I'm just gonna laugh at this comment because I love it. Next article: the Drew Estate horror orgasms. What can we
Yes.
expect?
So
Okay.
here's our pairing wheel that we've put together, and you can see we've got here at the center we've got the wood, grain, spice, sweet, floral, and fruit, and these are the very base level of notes that we drive down into it. So in some of the ones that I was smoking on here, I was picking up some woodsy notes on it, and then I went down to the nuts, and then I went down over here into the walnuts, and I couldn't tell really if it was more of a walnut or a chestnut, but both of those are very similar in the notes on it. But you've got your hardwoods with mesquite and hickory. You've got cedar, pine, charred oak, and so forth. So you can see you work your way down into this, and the way that we teach it, and the way we always do it. And there's multiple ways, but we do it from the psychological aspect of it, of what does it remind you of, and then you look at this pairing wheel and then come in a little bit further. So in the fruity notes on it, you can go into the cooked and say, candied apples, candied fruit, or you can go into the berries, fresh, dried, tropical, and so forth on all of these. And so that all of that comes into play when you're thinking about what you're getting out of it. And this is how you build your palate up as well, and how you train your palate. So if all you're getting out of a cigar is I'm picking up some sweet notes, or I'm getting leather, I'm getting tobacco, I'm getting earthy grains, well, refer to a pairing wheel. Our particular pairing wheel, we took cigar notes, pairing tasting wheel, wines, spirits, primarily whiskeys, coffees, and beers, and we took what was
We even
missing.
took wood
We even took,
for
yes,
grilling, from the
for
grilling
grilling.
aspect.
We took all of those and combined those into a single wheel. I've never seen another wheel like what we put together. And I probably got probably 80 to 100 hours of just putting this together and researching it and grouping everything together on it. So you can get this, you can download that pairing wheel from our website. You click on happenings and downloads, and then you can see that there.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say this is another great question here.
See, you took mine.
Well,
Oh wait, no, no,
read.
no, 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 no. It wasn't. I wasn't going to say that. He had another one where he said blind test would be fun, and those are totally fun. And that's whenever you do a blind test, you're definitely going to need a pairing wheel with that. Those are
Yes.
really, really good. So definitely hit those up. So price factor into a rating, like $10 versus 35. So when it comes to 10, this is a double-edged sword for me, because if I'm going to spend $35 on a cigar, I'm expecting better quality than, let's say, if I spent like 3 to 5 to 7, on it. But the
Yes.
thing is there have been some cigars that were like $10 that I would have thought it would have been like that $35 cigar.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
and so those blew my expectations. Whereas when I've had a $35 cigar, and I'm like, I think I would have paid like $8 for this. And there's one that I had, and it was one of the year. You know, I was gifted that. I didn't know how much that cigar cost. It was a $75 cigar, 70 something,
Yep.
and I was expecting a huge orgasmic fantasy, to fill me from head to toe for $75. I was expecting phenomenal. And then and I smoked it, and I'm like, hey, this is really good. I would pay this much. But then when I found out it was a $75, I was like, oh no, it's robbing people. I didn't feel like it was a $75 cigar. That's that would have been huge into that factor. So
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Um, so we don't, slander anybody. Said cigar was at a cigar lounge. Said, "Here's a gift. Let me give it to you." and it's a higher end cigar. It can vary from anywhere from $30 to $60 a stick. And yes, Drew Estate whore. However, I do smoke everything else boutique, thanks to this gray beard and Ash, and their faithfulness to the boutique brands. I smoke everything under the sun. So I smoked a cigar which is not boutique; it is big brand, and it was a $40 stick, $40 Toro. I smoked it, and I was unimpressed. I really thought, I was like, $20, $10 sticks, I get a lot more pleasurable aroma and apparent quality with cigars that are more inexpensive. I like Willie's segue on blind testing. I think blind testing is a good way to go. Not knowing how much the price is, and I've smoked during right before the COVID. Dave helped me with a bunch of old cigars. You remember that? We were set up as Cigar International. I smoked $100 Cuban. I didn't even know it. And it was absolutely breathtaking. And I smoked an $80 Cuban, and I was unimpressed. It's when you go over to international countries and all those taxes and everything like that, I tell everybody I won't smoke a $400 cigar, period. Yeah, no matter what the cigar is, because it's all about, tell me about the notes, tell me about the profile, and I'm talking about an actual cigar review, not somebody's expectations from it, because somebody can give you a bad expectation. But I've smoked some pretty bad $40, $50 cigars before, and I've smoked some pretty bombing $10, $20 cigars.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris has brought out a couple of things. He states that he did a 33 cigar tasting session, most he's ever done in a single sitting, and it was eye-opening and palate nuking to sample and classify, rate that many cigars. 4 hours of notes, and it was an amazing experience. To grow your palate and to really get to be able to get into an understanding of a cigar at the level that we're talking about here. And this is not to diss any other, cigar reviewers out there, because cigar reviewers are almost like a dime a dozen. Everybody's reviewing and rating cigars. One of the things that we have challenged all of our writers, with Joe and with Chris and with Gabe, which I haven't seen Gabe chime in, yet today on this, but these are all of our reviewers for our cigars. One of the things that Red and Matt and I have challenged all of them on is you've got to smoke multiples of the cigars. You've got to come in, like what Joe is saying, with an open mind on it. If you're, we don't diss any company whatsoever. We understand that palates are different. Joe could possibly smoke this cigar and rate it and come in at a higher rating than I have, or at a lower rating that I have. This is the way that I view the cigar based upon my knowledge and my experience with cigars. And, I know between you and I, we have smoked thousands of cigars just in the past couple of years since we've been doing this show. So, but at the end of the day, this is how I, Graybeard, Dave, view this particular cigar on this. It's a lot of fun, but this is a lot of work doing this.
Right. And I also kind of want to bring up what Joe said. He said that there's definitely some cheaper whiskeys that outperform expensive ones. And 100% agree. And it's going to be the same with wines. It's going to be like one of my favorite wines that I love and drink it a lot. It is my go-to. It's an $8 wine. $8 wine. But if I didn't tell you the price of it, you're probably thinking, holy crap, did she spend like, $70 to $80 on it? And so it's just kind of, even like with ports, I've had some very expensive ports, and I've had some of the cheaper ports. And so, and it's also the same with stouts, because you can have very expensive stouts, you can have very expensive beers. I mean, it's basically anything you can have. You can have the spirits, like tequilas, like you have your sipping tequilas, you have your sipping vodkas. It's the same thing. And that's kind of like, what Cigar Traveler was saying is, whenever you have stores that are offering tastings of spirits, wines, whatever, or you go to wine tastings, go for it. Because you never know what you're going to get. You get to try the product before you actually have to spend a lot of money to buy it. So, and it gives you an opportunity to explore that. So, I just kind of want to
Absolutely.
say definitely do that. Yeah.
I want let's close on this question here. The rating wheel, are those the most common taste for cigars? I mean, I'm sure that there's others.
Hmm.
I've heard people, talk about getting cucumber notes out of a cigar. I myself have never have. From in putting this together, just for my research into a number of different um, people that I respect and what they have put out, and professionals such as the Cigar Sommelier Organization, the International Association of Cigar Sommeliers, the Tobacconist University, Cigar Aficionado, Whiskey Advocate, industry experts on this have taken what they have said and have combined all of these together to present this wheel. And like I said, I've never seen any other wheel that is as deep and as expansive as what ours is. But that's just my thought is that, yeah, I think these are the most common, but that doesn't mean that we're not missing some. And if we're missing
Right.
some, we'll grow the wheel.
Yeah. But I also think that it kind of goes back where the way we design the wheel, the what we talked about is we do the psychology of it. We've always talked about the psychology of it, because when you're smoking, you're drinking or something, it hits a memory, and it takes you down this journey of like, where have I had this? Oh, okay, when I was in Mexico and it was wintertime, and they made hot cocoa, but it was in a clay pot versus, cooking it on the stove, or, heating it up in a mug, and you drink it out of a clay. So that's an experience that most people haven't had. And I'm not knocking them for that experience, but it's kind of like you get different flavors and you can hit that. So, yeah, are we going to miss some? Yeah. But it doesn't mean that when you're taking this journey that you're not going to remember that distinct taste and where you had it.
That's
So,
right.
that's what I say. Ours is the most expensive will I've ever seen. And it was something like, Graybeard put a ton of thought behind it and stuff, and I added stuff to it. Matt added stuff, Spice Man added stuff to it. So it wasn't just, you know, I took my, I don't want to say expertise, but for the beer aspect, and then from the cookie. Like where Spice Man, he knows more about the spices and things, so he's got more of the spice. He and I both smoke. This summer has been unrealistically hot, but usually during the fall, that's when the smoker comes out, and I play around with the different woods and the different textures of that. And when you're out there smoking, and a brisket takes a long time. It's an overnight process. So you're going to get that smell and those flavors that are not in a normal pairing will, because you do taste those in some cigars. So,
Yeah.
so that's my
So
thought on that.
we have great show. We've got some great shows coming up as well. We've got some phenomenal guests coming up. But we get that, I do want to make a call out. If you want to even hear even more about Drew Estate from a completely different angle than what we've talked about here, I want you to pay attention. Go out to the Great Lakes Cigar and Pipe Show. Their next show, which Joe Galino, he's one of our writers. He writes with me for Whiskey Network magazine, and he also hosts a show once a month with the Great Lakes Cigar and Pipe Show. And his next show, the Cigar and Whiskey Pairings, he's going to have, and this is next Wednesday on the 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. He's going to have DJ Eli on there, and he is a DJ that does a lot of the Drew Estate events and parties and such, so a lot of their events. And he's going to be on their show that's next Tuesday, the 12th. No, next Tuesday, the 12th at 8 p.m. 7 Central, Cigar and Pipe Show. They're on Facebook. It'll be on Facebook, so go check them out. It is a great show. Red and I were on their show last year, and they are a lot of fun, lots of knowledge, great experience. And when it comes to whiskeys and cigar pairings, our brother Joe, our family member Joe, he knows what he's doing, and you can go check out his articles. He does a bunch of great pairing articles for the Whiskey Network, and that's at whiskeynetwork.net. So that's their plug. Who we got next week, Red?
Oh man, you have the schedule in front of you, don't you? We have Fred. Fred, who's coming on. And I need to look at the name to say the name of the cigar because I don't
Espinal Puro.
Yes, because I was like, I gotta look at it because we know that me and my dyslexia, we've got to look at things carefully because I don't want to say it wrong. So he's coming on next week. The week after that is Hector with Casada, not Quesadillas. And then there's even some more coming up because we're booking guests left to right. And pretty soon we're going to have some tequila.
Ooh.
We're going to have a tequila show.
I'm also excited about our show on October 11th, where we are going to have Brad from Bongani. Now, Bongani is a very interesting cigar. This is the first, or ever. I believe it's the first ever.
Ever. It is the first ever.
Ever. African Puro. So, and this isn't just the Cameroon. This is an African Puro. All of the tobacco is grown there, and it's Bongani. And so we're going to have the one of the reps, the Southwest region rep, Brad, on with us talking about their cigars.
Yeah.
And we've got more, but you're going to have to stay tuned to figure out what else is coming. We can't give away all the goodies.
No, because then you'd be overwhelmed.
Yes. I mean, I know I'm overwhelmed some of the times on it.
Yes.
Closing thoughts, Mr. Zach, Cigar Traveler. You got any closing thoughts on this one, buddy?
Stay smoky, guys. Love the show. And love everything that we covered, and stay tuned, guys. We got a lot of good pairings coming up, and we got a lot of awesome guests, and this is just the beginning of some awesome shows and some awesome pairings. So come check us out.
I mean, that's almost a mic drop moment right there.
Mic drop. But I just want to say I enjoyed having you on tonight and seeing you. It was great seeing you. It's been a hot minute, so I appreciate that. So thank you so much for coming on and joining us this evening. Great having you.
Yes, it was. Thank you for joining us on this. A lot of fun. can't talk great about our guest that we had. There's still lots of comments coming in about the notes. I think we're going to have to do a show specifically on the notes, especially when we're talking leathery and earthy notes.
Yeah, and like that week of September, I think it's the last week of September. We don't have anything, so let's do it then.
Let's do it. Okay, you guys heard it here. Don't forget the contest starting as soon as we are done here.
Get your cigars.
From now until midnight on Sunday, pair a Drew Estate cigar with something. Post it on Instagram. You can post it on Facebook and such, but only the ones on Instagram are going to count. You've got to follow Pedro. You've got to follow Drew Estate. You got to tag them both. Follow Leaf and Grain Society. Tag Leaf and Grain Society, our Instagram account, and follow and tag Red and my account, our personal accounts on that. We will be looking. I will be looking.
I'll be looking too.
Red will be looking on Monday on Instagram. I will go live. I will randomize all of the entries, and you will get that killer cigar case that from Drew Estate.
Kick ass. Kick ass is a better word.
It's kick ass. I mean, it will hold like 6 or 7 cigars. It's got a flask and a holder for your lighter and cutter. I mean, I want that myself.
I know. That's awesome.
Any closing thoughts from you, Red?
I just want to say thank you for everybody for tuning in. We had a great show, I think. Thanks for the questions. And, again, it was fun. We always have fun.
We always have fun. Well,
yeah.
Until next week, and you two stay on. Until next week, as we always say, explore the pairings.
There's something for everyone. Have a good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.